If you cut a pizza into 4 slices and another pizza into 8 slices, which slices are bigger? Why?
In today's math quest, we are talking about pizza? I love pizza, but I wonder what pizza has to do with fractions. Oh, look at the shape of a whole pizza. It's a circle. And when we cut it into slices, we're dividing the circle into equal parts, just like we did with the other shapes last time. Let's work together to figure this out. What do you think? Do you have any predictions about which slices will be bigger? Well, I know that 8 is bigger than 4, so maybe it's the one with 8 slices? But I'm not totally sure. I think we need to take a closer look at some shapes and objects that are broken into equal parts to really understand what's happening when this pizza is cut. Let's start by going back to familiar fractions. Follow along with me in your guided notes. Here we have 3 squares that are the same size. Take a moment to split these into halves, thirds, and fourths. Do your fractions look like mine? Awesome! Now, do you remember how we compared fraction pieces to see if they were equal shares? Yes, we took the pieces and stacked them on top of each other. To compare these different fractions, we're going to take one of each piece of the fraction and compare them by stacking. This first piece here is one of the pieces from the square split into halves. We'll call it 1/2. If we lay one of the thirds on top of the half, which one do you think will be bigger? Let's check. Wow! The 1/2 piece is bigger than the 1/3 piece, but 3 is bigger than 2. Do you think that 1/2 will also be bigger than the 1/4 piece? If we check by stacking, 1/2 is bigger than 1/4. And if we look at all 3 of these pieces, it looks like 1/2 is the biggest fraction piece and 1/4 is the smallest. That's totally the opposite of what I was thinking. Do you think this is true for all fractions? We started by comparing fractions we're familiar with, but what happens if we introduce a couple more to our investigation? Here we have the same size square broken into 6 pieces and into 8 pieces. Have you seen shapes broken apart like this before? Do you know what they're called? I took a peek at next year's math book to find out. A shape broken into 6 equal pieces is called sixths, and a shape broken into 8 equal pieces is called eighths. Do you think one of the 6th pieces or one of the 8th pieces is going to be bigger? If it's like the last examples we worked through, then the 6th will be bigger. Let's check it out. If we lay the 1/6 on top of the 1/8, it completely covers it. The 1/6 is bigger. So far, we've compared several different fractional pieces made from squares, and in every example, the smaller the number of pieces, the bigger the pieces are. Do you think this will also be true with circles, like the pizzas in our math quest? We have 3 pizzas of the same size here, and they have been divided into halves, fourths, and eighths. Before breaking them apart to compare their pieces, can you tell which one has the biggest pieces just by looking at them? With the squares, the 1/2 piece was the largest piece we worked with, and the 1/8 piece was the smallest. Maybe it will be the same with our circle-shaped pizzas. If we start by comparing 1/2 of the pizza to 1/4 of the pizza, Which piece is larger? You're right. It's 1/2. Think about this. Have you ever eaten half of a pizza? It is way more food than eating 1/4 of the pizza. Now, let's compare 1/2 of the pizza to 1/8 of the pizza. Which is the bigger piece? That's it. 1/2 of the pizza is even bigger than the 1/8 of the pizza. Just like when we're working with squares, the smaller the number of pieces, the bigger the pieces are. Great job working through all of these visual examples. But do you think we can figure out which pieces are bigger or smaller without a picture? Let's play a little game to try it out. We've been talking about pizza, which has me thinking about different foods. If you were really hungry, would you rather have 1/3 of a burger or 1/6 of a burger? That's right. If you're really hungry, you would want to eat 1/3 of the burger because 1/3 is bigger than 1/6. What if you wanted a smaller sweet treat? Would you rather have 1/4 of a chocolate bar or 1/8 of a chocolate bar? Absolutely. You would pick 1/8 of the chocolate bar because 1/8 is smaller than 1/4. Finally, let's take this back to the math quest. In our quest today, we're comparing a pizza cut into fourths and a pizza cut into eighths. Without even looking at the pizzas and the size of their slices, can you figure out which one will have larger slices? You got it. 1/4 of a pizza is going to be larger than 1/8 of the pizza because the smaller the number of pieces, the bigger the pieces are. Nice work. I'm so glad we took the time to investigate this. Write our final answer on your math quest while I input our answer. Amazing work today. Through our investigation, we learned the more pieces we cut a pizza or any object into, the smaller the pieces will be. All of this talk has made me so hungry, but I want something sweet. Should I take half of a brownie or 1/4 of a brownie? Definitely half of the brownie because it's bigger than the 1/4. Remember, every problem has a solution, and we've got the skills to solve it. See you next time. Hey!